Tonight you'll fall asleep and stay that way until morning, uninterrupted. Nobody keeps watch. Nobody stays half-tuned to the darkness, listening for trouble. That's a genuinely strange thing to be able to do. For nearly all of human history, sleeping through the night like that simply wasn't possible. And our species built an elaborate, draining workaround just to survive the hours between dusk and dawn. Then one thing rewired the whole equation, and it wasn't fire, and it wasn't a roof overhead. It was an animal stationed at the outer edge of the firelight, one ear still tracking the darkness, quietly doing a job the human body was never equipped to handle solo. Sleep is supposed to be uncomplicated. Lie down, shut your eyes, recover. But it's also the most defenseless state any creature can enter. No awareness, no ability to fight back, no way to flee. For a species standing exposed in open terrain, surrounded by predators built specifically for nighttime hunting because prey grew slow and half-blind after dark, sleep wasn't recovery. It was 8 straight hours of exposure, repeated nightly, for the entire stretch of human existence, before farms, before solid walls, before nearly everything we now equate with feeling secure. There was no bolted door, no barrier thick enough to matter, just a body lying motionless outdoors, gambling that nothing would find it before sunrise. That gamble didn't pay off nearly often enough. The very same terrain that sustained early humans by day turned against them once night fell. A creature with mediocre night vision, unremarkable hearing, and almost no functional sense of smell had to make it through the hours when literally everything favored a different animal. Scientists studying present-day hunter-gatherer communities groups whose lifestyle still closely mirrors how humans lived for the overwhelming majority of our history have uncovered something that completely changes how we should picture ancient sleep. The Hadza people of Tanzania, for instance, don't sleep in one continuous stretch as a group. Movement tracking studies of their sleep patterns revealed that the entire band being unconscious simultaneously happened for only a few scattered minutes across an entire stretch of weeks. Outside of those rare minutes, at least one person somewhere in the camp was either awake or lightly enough asleep to catch a warning sign. That's not coincidence. Scientists have a name for it, the sentinel hypothesis, and it seems to be wired directly into our biology. Not everyone runs on the same internal schedule. Some people drift off early and rise with the sun. Others stay alert deep into the night and sleep late. In today's world, we chalk this up to a scheduling nuisance, something alarm clocks and caffeine paper over. In the ancestral world, it might have been the entire mechanism. That natural spread of sleep timing guaranteed a sleeping group would never all go under at once. Somebody was constantly stationed at the edge of awareness, never volunteering, never assigned. The early risers, the night owls, all of them unknowingly pulling an unpaid watch shift, cycling automatically through the dark, generation after generation, with nobody ever designing the system on purpose. It worked, but it wasn't free. The price was sleep quality itself. If a portion of the group has to stay semi-alert around the clock, nobody in that group is getting deep, unbroken, fully restorative rest. What they're getting instead is something closer to sleep on a budget, deliberately fragmented, shaped by evolution to trade rest for survival. Hunter-gatherer populations today typically sleep under 7 hours a night, sometimes closer to 6, less than most people in industrialized countries. And yet here's the part that should catch you off guard. These same groups report barely any insomnia. Some of their languages don't even have a term for it. Their sleep is brief and choppy, but it doesn't register as broken. Ours runs longer, shielded by deadbolts and quiet neighborhoods, and countless people still can't manage it. That gap is the actual puzzle, and it points somewhere very specific. The issue was never how much sleep people got. The issue was the vigilance running underneath it, an ancient alarm system still active inside modern brains, long after the danger it was built for vanished. And if that system evolved to answer one particular threat, then genuinely eliminating that threat should have transformed sleep directly, not just the surroundings around it. What was needed was something that didn't need to rotate shifts, didn't have to sacrifice its own rest to stand guard, something purpose-built for exactly this one function. That's precisely what a dog stationed at the border of a Paleolithic camp represented. A dog's senses don't shut down the way ours do. Its hearing spans a wider range of frequencies than a human's, tuned to pick up movement and noise that human ears simply filter out the faint rustle or distant footstep that would never rouse a sleeping person. Its sense of smell can detect an approaching animal well before any sight or sound would reach a sleeping human, sometimes while the threat is still well beyond the reach of the firelight. Dogs also sleep in brief, frequently broken stretches of their own, drifting off and resettling all night in a rhythm that keeps some level of awareness running continuously. In short, this new addition to the human camp arrived already equipped with the exact sentinel function people had been cobbling together through variation in sleep timing, only sharper, steadier, and at no cost. For the first time, a human group no longer had to burn through part of its own members' sleep to stay safe overnight. The dog took over that function entirely. It didn't grow weary of the role the way a person eventually would. Nobody had to talk it into the late shift, remind it, or swap it out to keep things fair. It was simply there, alert in a way the human body could never sustain night after night on its own. And that meant the people nearby could finally do something the species had rarely managed consistently across its whole existence: sleep completely, fully unconscious and fully still, for hours at a time, without a fractured watch rotation, quietly draining everyone's rest. This matters more than it might seem, because deep, unbroken sleep isn't optional extra credit. It's when the brain files away memories, flushes out metabolic waste, balances hormones, and shores up the immune system. Sleep that's chronically fragmented, the kind the sentinel system likely produced across a population living under constant nighttime threat for hundreds of thousands of years, is tied to raised stress hormones and a weaker immune response over time. A group that could finally sleep in longer, steadier stretches wasn't merely more comfortable, it was healthier, sharper, and better positioned to face the next day, and the one after, with the benefits stacking across a lifetime and then across generations that never knew anything different. There's physical evidence of this shift as well. At many ancient sites, the remains of dogs turn up positioned right beside hearths and sleeping areas, close enough to suggest they belonged inside the immediate resting space rather than being kept at arm's length like a working animal might be. That positioning wasn't sentimental, it was practical. You keep your best early warning system as close as it will allow, because the nearer it slept, the faster its alertness effectively became your own, and the less your nervous system had to shoulder alone through the night. And that old system never disappeared. It's still active inside you right now. Which helps explain why so many people today struggle with sleep in ways that would puzzle a Hadza elder resting on open ground. The teenager who can't drift off before midnight. The light sleeper jolted awake by the faintest noise. The person who only sleeps soundly when someone else is home. None of these are malfunctions. They're an ancient sentinel system with nothing left to guard against, still responding to a threat that vanished millennia ago, still holding the body half ready for danger it will never face again. We inherited the vigilance. Most of us just lost the animal that was built to carry it in our place. Except some of us haven't. If you've ever slept more soundly with a dog somewhere in the room, if the sound of it resettling on the floor or at the foot of the bed felt less like an interruption and more like the reason you could finally relax, that isn't sentimentality. It's an ancient agreement still technically holding, tens of thousands of years after it was struck. One animal took on the single job the human nervous system could never fully set down, and in return, we gained something the species had almost never been granted across its entire history: a complete night, unbroken, undefended by our own worn-out bodies. It was never just companionship. It was permission to finally close your eyes the whole way, for the first time since we climbed down from the trees, and trust that something else was standing watch.